Changing the topic now, the Cropper Foundation is here because they are always following their mandate and in keeping with their mandate, supporting projects and initiatives that deal with the preservation of the environment. Joining me this morning to speak about that in studio is Zico Cozier, who is the communications officer at the Cropper Foundation. And joining me as well via Zoom is Eron Melville, who is the president of the Valencia Village Council, as well as Arlene Williams, who is the president of the Las Cuevas Eco Friendly Association. Good morning to all my guests and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Cari. It's always great to be here on the morning.
It's great to have you here, Zico. Long time no see. It's good to see you.
It's been a minute.
So, as you were saying, that the Cropper Foundation really supports a lot of environmentally conscious efforts and initiatives. Tell us about your latest one.
Okay, so the Cropper Foundation spent the past 3 years implementing a training program that was funded by the European Union called CSOs for Good Environmental Governance. CSO means Civil Society Organization. So what we did is we realized that there was a problem whereby smaller communities who were dealing with the extractive sector, which is like oil and gas or quarry operators, were in a fight that felt a little bit like David versus Goliath, where they felt overpowered and they were having a hard time really pushing back and getting their message across, which is that they want more transparency, more accountability, and more responsible approach to managing the environmental externalities or the environmental impacts that can come from having a large quarry operator or oil and gas operation nearby to your community. So we're looking, what we did is we found 25 civil society organizations across Trinidad and Tobago, a diverse set. Some are community groups that don't necessarily deal exclusively with environmental issues, like there's ProSevere who deals with children's issues, and they're in Point Fortin. So the leader of ProSevere and his children actually are having asthma and whatnot, and he's questioning, might it be because of the oil and gas sector? Because Petrotrin would have been in Point Fortin. So we have this diverse coalition of NGOs, and we brought them together and used this European Union funding to train them in things like media, so that they can become citizen journalists and that they can get their message across. So we built this amazing platform called Cari-Bois Environmental News Network. So what it is, it's Trinidad and Tobago's first ever news network that is dedicated only to environmental issues. And what is so special about it is that it is spearheaded by civil society, by people, man on the road. Anybody could sort of come forward to us with their story, and the Cropper Foundation would act as editors and help guide them along the way to being able to get their story told using their own words and get it out to the general public.
Wonderful. And to tell us their stories in their own words are our two guests who are with us via Zoom. So let me go first with you, Eron. You are the president of the Valencia Village Council, and there's one pressing issue that you had been dealing with lately. Tell us about it.
Well, it's not actually one issue, but I will deal with the issue that presently at hand. We are dealing with the construction of the highway project in Valencia, and the flooding that brings with it a big issue of flooding. Right? The flooding issue was part of the highway project, as it was dealt with the drainage issues that the road development brought at the Valencia junction, that creating and have been creating a lot of problems along that transition of the development. So I was privileged to be there and capture some events that happened in the Valencia junction. Being a part of the initial training built up to the highway, which means the consultation parts of the highway project. We had the opportunity to present a lot of initiatives and ideas from the community that may have had a better impact on the problem that we experiencing presently. But we never had that output, that strength have the people or the contractors that take us seriously. So being a part of Cari-Bois and the training process, it gave me a certain amount of strength and leverage to use to get things done. And I was there to capture some of the events, and with the training that I received from this organization, gave us the opportunity to highlight it and make a better input. So the issue around the Valencia flooding and the construction of the highway, with the training, we had the opportunity to make an impact. So I had the opportunity to capture some of the footage that was happening in the Valencia Junction, and also wrote a story, a passage on the flooding and what.
And that would help to bring awareness to what is happening there right now, and having this platform available is very beneficial. Let me find out now from Arlene Williams, who is the president of the Las Cuevas Eco Friendly Association, her story and what is the pressing issue right now that they're dealing with in Las Cuevas.
Well, our pressing issue right now is that we come into March, and March is the beginning of the turtle nesting season. However, we are not sure if it is we will be working, if we will be out protecting the turtles for this year. One of my stories that I captured recently was a wild capuchin monkey that escaped from someone, and it happened to fell and was badly harmed. But however, through the Cari-Bois network, I was able to contact some persons who volunteered to come and collect the monkey, carry it to a vet, but the expense to keep it at the vet was too high, so we had to hand it over to the zoo. So far, they say that the monkey doing fine, and the monkey is back to normal health, which is very good for us so far.
And that is very heartening to know. But speaking back now on the overall Zico, the communities having access to, devices that they could actually capture footage, live footage of the things that they are fighting against and the things that they are trying to highlight. Tell us a little bit before we go about, how beneficial this is.
Yeah, so the main purpose of the project was to help them stand up against the extractive sector and demand more transparency and accountability. But of course, communities are dealing with all sorts of environmental issues. So they're not limited in how they can use the equipment. So as you heard, Eron is using the equipment to document their issues with flooding, and Arlene is using the equipment to do all sorts of conservation with regards to wildlife, being able to film threats to wildlife in her community. So what we did at the Copper Foundation is we spent this holiday period using some of the funding from the European Union to buy these community groups the equipment that they need to be able to document the threats to their natural environment in their communities. So we equipped them with items like cell phones, a stabilizer, a gimbal,
right,
and a tripod, so they could sort of go out and film and get stable footage. We got them lapel mics, like what we have here on TV, everything that they would need to become better citizen journalists and be able to document these things themselves. And we also got them things that they needed to sort of bring their community together to, so like a projector,
right,
so that if the community is doing something, they can have a projector, they have a speaker and a mic, a speaker box and a mic, so that they can have community meetings and these types of things. And what has been so special, it's been about $420,000 TT dollars worth of equipment that we said, you know what, let's just give it to them. Because a lot of times training programs like this, you'll train communities, and then afterwards, what would happen next if the communities don't necessarily have the equipment that they need?
The resources.
Yeah, to put the training into good practice. So we said, okay, for this training to be valuable, we need to make sure that they could put this into practice even after the training is finished. So we said the best thing to do is to just give them the money, give them the equipment, and let's see what they go forward and what they do with it. And so far, it's been pretty exciting to see what they're doing. Beyond the project, there's Gumti Ragubar and Fishing Pond. Obviously, Fishing Pond is a rural community, and some of the children there don't have access to the types of equipment that they need to attend classes.
Right.
So Gumti told us, that they have this really cool idea where they're going to use our projector to allow several secondary school children to take classes together.
Right.
So things like that are what we wanted to see happen with the equipment, and it's already happening. We have Daniel from ProSivane. He has been doing live chats with the equipment with all sorts of environmental activists and people who work on children's child rights issues.
Right.
And it's just been really special to see, what they take the equipment and what they do with it. That's ultimately what this was all about.
Wonderful. And Zico, I could chat with you about this all morning because, I'm very passionate as well about things that help to support communities and help to support the environment and other organizations that benefit to the people. But, I just want to thank you for joining us this morning. I want to thank our two guests who were with us via Zoom as well, Arlene and Eron from their respective communities. And we look forward to hearing a lot more from the Cropper Foundation and the great work that you continue to do.
Thank you, Cari.
Thank you so much, Zico.